Well, ladies and gents, my episode 2 review of the book of Boba Fett and a Jasper cameo. Yeah! Thumbs up just for Jasper, because he's a dude. This is going to be my review as non-spoilery as possible first, and I'll give you a fair warning and we'll just talk spoilers, because there was some actually relatively big reveals in this episode. So, all in all, really actually quite like this show. I know a lot of people hate it. I don't care. I like it. It's good fun. Whatever. I understand people have a disdain for it. I get it. But no, I can't help but be thoroughly entertained. It was good fun. This felt much more like the Boba Fett that I wanted, that I thought was Boba Fett, as opposed to last week's episode, which made him feel a bit nerfed, you know? Like, there's assassins gathering around him. He wouldn't have stood for that. He would have just used his jetpack, flew up. I don't know. There's so many ways that he could have got out of that. And when he was electrocuted, and when one of the other assassins got electrocuted on one of the shields, some of the logic that I had to... There was a lot of suspension of disbelief, because one of the assassins fell on another shield and died. If that is the case, surely the shields, you could just surround them and drill them in to whoever you're surrounding, and then they die anyway. So, a bit dumb. This week, and I enjoyed last week's episode. It's not, you know, perfect, but those are my criticisms. This week's episode was much, much better. Much, 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 much better. So, to me, this is giving us the Fett that most people will want. I think. And also, as well, I will say this. I stand corrected on some of the commentary about the Sarlacc pit, because some of that was sort of revisited this week. Non-spoiler, sort of revisited. Hopefully they'll continue that a little bit more, because it was kind of one and done. I understand that splits people down the middle. Some people didn't want it to be, you know, one and done like me. Some people didn't really care. I get it. But I'm glad that they've revisited it, sort of. And I will say this. It seems that the Tusken Raider situation and everything that the story... They basically have a story to tell with the Tusken Raiders. Because my criticism of last week's episode was that they spent little energy on the Sarlacc pit. And then, I'm going to move out of the way so you can see Jasper. They spent very little energy on the Sarlacc pit and then spent way too much time on the Tusken Raiders. But it seems that that's going somewhere now. And I like it. That's still slightly out of character for Boba Fett, I believe. But it's still going somewhere. It's telling a story. And I can appreciate that. So that's fine. The effects are great in this show. I really like the effects in this show. It's very, very good. I had a great time with it. There was an interesting point where Boba Fett says he is not a bounty hunter. So whether that's because he's not the bounty hunter anymore that he was, or whether he's, you know, kind of resigning himself to be the crime lord of Tatooine, I'm not too sure. But it was still really decent. The effects are good. The set pieces are good. Because it's only set on one place, and I feel this is actually going to be a downfall of Kenobi when that one starts, is that it's a lot of the same set pieces over and over and over. But that's the downfall of setting it in one place. I mean, it just is what it is, isn't it? It's a lot of sandy places, I guess. But I don't hate it. Don't hate it. Still, over-reliance on the same set pieces was, yeah, okay, fine. Good to see lots of the spoilers coming through in this week's episode. But it was decent. I will consistently enjoy this show, I'm sure. I didn't have any issue. You know, it's still an enjoyable show despite my criticism. So that's called objective critiquing. You note the good and the bad. I don't think there was anything really bad about this week's episode. Not that I recall. No, not really. There was some wonky CGI, but I don't think it was that bad. I need to watch it again and have a look. There were twins in it, if that means anything to anyone, as non-spoilery as possible. And I need to confirm whether the CGI was wonky or not. Because I looked at it and I was like, ooh. But I need to go back and take a look on a bigger screen just to double check. But there you go, my non-spoiler review. Go watch it. It's good. I enjoy it. If you thought that Boba Fett was a bit nerfed in last week's episode, you might like him a bit more in this one. Fight choreography is getting better. Yeah, it's better. Anyway, spoiler warning, because we do have spoilers. Things happen, people appear. So I need to give you pretty big spoiler warning ahead now. There you go. Spoiler warning. Give you a second. You can bitch and moan. Give you another second. There you go. Done. Spoiler warning. We had someone pop up called Black Chrysanthemum. So this is a Wookiee assassin who was taken from his homeworld of Kashyyyk, become a gladiator, worked with Darth Vader, all introduced in the comics, right? And this is him making his live-action debut. Great. Really cool. So nice to see them pulling stuff from what would be the wider universe now. So good. This is like a pretty big key spoiler, which I couldn't talk about. I liked the effects on the suit. It looks good. Like, it looks decent. Looks very imposing, like a Wookiee should. I thought this was a really good addition. And this character is now working for the twins, the twin Hutts. So Jabba the Hutt's cousins. Now, that's the effects that I thought looked a bit wonky. But again, I can't really tell. I need to look at it on a bigger screen and just double check. So basically, the story of this, it was a good episode. The story is that obviously he's trying to track down who was trying to assassinate him with those assassins. He figures, obviously from the captured one, he drops him in the Rancor pit, and you're like, oh, the Rancor, and it's empty. There's no Rancor there, which I thought was quite funny, which I'm sure some people have a bit of an issue with. I guess that, you know, there is no Rancor, because of course it died, didn't it, I think, from Luke Skywalker. Although, was that fully confirmed that he killed it? Probably, I guess so. I mean, the thing did fall on his head. So anyway, whatever, I'm talking bollocks. But anyway, so he absolutely shat himself and revealed that apparently the mayor sent the assassins. So they go and take a meeting to the mayor. It's actually voiced by Robert Rodriguez. So the showrunner, I guess, behind this, sort of. And turns out it's not him. He says, go to Sanctuary and, you know, family business, etc., etc. And then they come out, and then it's the Twin Hutts. They're back. They're trying to lay claim to Tatooine as a world. They want it. They want to rule over Tatooine. They are laying claim to it. Boba Fett does not back down, though, and he says, no, like, I took this rightfully. It's mine. You know, go away. Like, you've got your own crime lord stuff to do. Piss off, basically. And that's when Black Chrysanthemum, I don't know how to pronounce that, Black Chrysanthemum, comes out. And it's basically a threat, you know. Assassin, bounty hunter sort of thing. And it's basically a threat that he's gonna, you know, the twins will sick him on him and kill him. But it also begs the question, there's probably going to be more bounty hunters, assassins, they'll be working for the twins, which will be cool. So there should be a lot of reveals and spoilers coming forward during the next few weeks of this show, which is good. Like, that's nice. And the effects were good. Like, I liked it. It was decent. And then we flash back, because he goes, you know, he's in the back to tank. And then we flash back to his time with the Tusken Raiders again. And this was quite interesting. So he does get taught how to use the Gaddafi stick, whatever it's called. But we figure out how he's even got that now, that stick. It's his, it's a special one. So he taught the Tusken Raiders how to use the speeder bikes, speeders. And then they do a raid on a speeder train, which is working with... Let me have a look. I've got it down here, written down here somewhere. It's the Pike Syndicate, right? They're transporting spice from the Pike, and it's the Pike Syndicate. So they take the train down. The Tusken Raiders take all their stuff, and they basically say, if you want to pass through the Dune Sea, you pay a toll now. And that earns the respect of the leader of the Tusken Raiders, and he says, this will guide you on your journey. Late at night, big campfire, and it's all very tribalistic. A weird little lizard thing goes up his nose, and then he goes and has a acid trip, basically. Wanders off into the desert, finds a branch, and then comes back, and then that branch is what he makes into his stick. Now, I thought that was pretty cool. It's opening that up a little bit more, showing us a little bit more about the Tusken Raiders and their lifestyle and things like that. I'll be intrigued to see how that plays into things moving forwards. whether, you know, now he's the crime boss on Tatooine, what's going to happen to the Tusken Raiders? Surely, I don't know, surely he'd give them safe I don't know, like, you can imagine something's going to happen there, right? So, it was good. All in all, it was decent. Let me know what you think, though, down below. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Cheers. Take care.